Welcome, everybody. I am Kyle, Director of Social at Ava Labs. Really excited to be jumping on again for another Twitter Spaces, and this time we'll be focused on the gaming side of things. I'm really excited to have our special guests up here. So, why don't we kick things off and do a quick round of intros? So, Fanfaron, you want to give us a quick intro on yourself first?
Yeah, sure. I'm Fan. I'm founder of Ragnarok. Been building on Ragnarok for the past 5 months. And before that, I was an entrepreneur. I mean, I still am, but I've built three companies. The first has failed. The second is still running and is my passive income right now. And the third has been sold 7 months ago. I was into crypto since end of 2016 and came back into crypto when I sold my last company. So it's been 7 or 8 months now since I'm back into crypto. That's me.
Awesome. Well, thanks for jumping on, and we're excited to have you. And I know a lot of people here are really excited to hear more about your newest project and all the work you've been doing with Ragnarok. So we'll jump into it in a second. Also wanted to welcome in Ed Chang, Director of Gaming at Avalabs. And Ed, we're really excited to have you on your first Twitter Spaces as well with us. So you want to give a quick intro?
Yeah, thanks, Kyle. I'm Ed. I joined Avalabs just over 2.5 months ago, heading up our gaming biz dev, working with the awesome team here. And this year is going to be a really exciting year for GameFi. So, we're thrilled to bring Fan to the platform, and this is the first of many exciting announcements this year.
Yes, this is the first of many for sure. So really excited to jump into this one and get going. So, yeah, without further ado, Ed, I'll let you take it away. But really excited to jump into it.
Awesome, thank
Awesome.
you, Fan. Thanks again for joining us. We're really thrilled to be able to kind of speak to this. But why don't we start with how the vision came to be? So tell me about everything you came up with the idea, the name, because I know there's been some confusion around Ragnarok Online, and paint the world for us here.
Yeah, sure. So basically, when I came back into crypto a few months ago, like 9 months ago, I was seeing, like, first of all, personally, I was a big gamer when I was younger, and I'm a big fan of animes and mangas as a whole. So when I came back into the space, I was seeing this trend of the metaverse, and I was kind of underwhelmed in the sense that I was seeing two types of projects within the metaverse, within Web3. And the first type, it was two on the two extreme of the spectrum. The first type of project were um, like the play to earn type of games. And for me, those were not games really. I call them click to earn in the sense that it's like slot machines. You just click on a button. It's a fun button, but sole purpose of the entire game is to win money. So there was no fun in it or entertainment beside winning money. There were no real game. And there's some exciting games like DFK, who's coming in Avalanche too, but uh, it's just the system that is play to earn. Like the sole purpose of playing is to earn money, and that was not that was the first end of the spectrum, and the second end of the spectrum were triple A games raising tens of millions of dollars, making VR, AR type of immersive, huge games, building in silos, 2 years roadmaps. Like they want to build the next Call of Duty, like Illuvium or Frontier. It's amazing games, but it's something that you got download on your computer, and it requires lots of power, and it takes a long time to build with immersive. And the technology for blockchain right now, it's mainly on browser, so those types of games are not possible in browser. So I was seeing a huge gap between those two spectrums, and it just like light bulbs inside my head, and I was like, yeah, I need to create a game that is fun to play, even if the earning were not a part of the equation. And that game should be accessible to everyone on browser and super easy to access. So that's why I, I created Ragnarok, is to have a fun game that you can play and hang around on browser for everyone. So that's how I came into the idea of building Ragnarok as a fun multiplayer role-playing game on browser. Yeah.
Cool. No, that's exciting. Tell me a little bit about the world. Like, paint it for me. Obviously, when you play the demo, it's obvious it exists in the future. But like, set the storyline for me. Totally get that's going to be fun to play, but you have a vision of how you're going to suck everybody into this world and build that narrative. Talk to me about that.
Yeah. So the narrative is probably the whole world is built around a strong narrative and a strong. So the whole MMORPG is lore driven. What does lore driven means is we're writing a whole story in manga chapters. We're gonna like release one manga chapter every month, and the whole story is mixed with the game. So basically, whenever a manga chapter is revealed, it's going to be like new content that is creating within the game. So let me tell you a bit more about the world of Ragnarok. So basically, it's the story of a guy named Fanfaron, who's me, who basically fucked up everyone while trying to figure out how to make light material and how we could access the internet, like how we could access the internet in real stuff and bring the internet out in reality. So basically, I fucked up everything in the world, and the cyborgs the people within that virtual reality figured out that there was something out there, which means us humans. So they decided to bridge the gap and come into the real world in 2077. When they came in, they destroyed 90% of humanity, and then they enslaved the remaining humans into towns of distraction and entertainment and just fun activities for humans to just be distracted from reality. And basically, the Ronin are the rebels of this world. There are only a few Ronin left who live outside of these towns in the wilderness and need to fight monsters to level up and be able to kill those cyborgs. Whenever you kill the monsters, you level up, you increase in your XP, you earn new weapons, you learn new skills, and then at one point the Ronin are gonna be powerful enough to be able to fight the cyborgs. So that's the whole story. The whole story revolves around two different parts of the world, which are the towns, which are hugely entertaining, and the outside, the wilderness, which is all the role-playing aspects of the game. So the towns are the metaphor, a metaphor for today's world with virtual reality, with internet and everything, with Instagram, everybody absorbed on their computer. So that's the town is a metaphor for that. And in the towns, everything that is fun is going to be there. Everything that is social is going to be there. There's going to be lots of players, multiplayer. You can hang around, you can chat, you can auction with the NFTs, you can buy buildings, you can play games, you can eat at restaurants. Like, it's a whole social network within the towns. And outside of the towns, the wilderness is where all the role-playing game will happen. Killing a monster, crafting, not crafting, but looting objects to be able to craft them as NFTs, level up, increase classes, increase levels, change classes. So your Ronin as a profile picture can be specialized into hacker or an assassin or a mind reader. There's plenty of stuff that you can do with your Ronin. So that's the world as we're going to build it.
Nice. So this is all based around you fucking up the world. I feel like there's some childhood experiences we should talk about. Another Twitter space. When you think about like influences though for the game itself, whether the art, the storyline, what are some like movies or anime or games, whether Web 2 or Web 3, that have had a profound influence on you in building this vision?
So there's a lot that had a profound influence on me for this. Um, the first big influence that I see is the storyline, in the sense that today in the world, you see two types. I mean, it's not two types, but you see everybody absorbed in their phones and in their PCs, and it's becoming more and more worrying, in the sense that people, and me included, don't live much into reality anymore, and you live in something that is completely virtual. And the whole story of Ragnarok is this, but expanded into the year 2077. And that's also a reference to Ready Player One, which is an incredible book um, that immerses people into something that is completely virtual. So there's also the Matrix, with the cyborgs that are um, basically ruling over humanity and distracting them into a sort of a dream with the pills. That's from the Matrix. So there's lots of influence about the storyline, and then there's lots of influence about the graphics, about the anime style, and the story of a hero, which comes really from the manga. Um, my three favorite mangas are Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, and Demon Slayer. And basically, the whole all those mangas have a hero that is quite innocent and that is causing some damage, uh, but while trying to save people. So that's the purpose of each Ronin that's going to play in the game. That's his purpose, to save humanity for the game. As for the gameplay, I had lots of influence from OG MMORPGs like World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy, Ragnarok Online, the OG Ragnarok Online. Lots of influence into the gameplay because I had lots of fun playing World of Warcraft when I was younger, and it was a social experience, super fun social experience with lots of people hanging around and killing monsters for fun and grinding, and it was just a fun experience. So the whole gameplay is also inspired by those OG MMORPGs.
Cool. Yeah, I definitely want to jump more into kind of the gameplay and the dev decisions. But you touched a little bit upon offering unique utility to the NFTs. You talked about the main. Tell us a little bit how you envision like the game wrapping all these assets together and how you think about them.
So basically, the NFTs will give you a lot of utility before the game and after the game and during the game. So each NFT that exists, that is going to be minted in early March, um, comes with accessories, whether they be weapons or VR headsets or X-ray glasses that allows you to increase your stats in agility and avoid the opponent's attacks. So each Ronin has a set of accessories that comes with it. So these are NFTs too, that comes with your NFT basically. Um, each profile picture comes with a playable character. So whenever you own a Ronin NFT, you have the access of its playable counterpart, and that playable counterpart can basically go anywhere, any other metaverse, but our metaverse first, of course. So it gives you a playable character. There's also with the Ronin Zero, it gives you also the ability for to it gives you the ability to breed. So the Ronin Zero are the only ones that have the unlimited ability to breed at the lowest cost and with the highest regeneration, the lowest regeneration time, and and basically every Ronin Zero comes with advantages in stats, even slight advantages, but with advantages compared to the other generations. And also, another utility is the Ronin Zero will be the only access, or probably the only access, or a discount to the public sale of the token, which will happen in April, May. So it doubles also as your token, your membership token to Ragnarok.
Got it. And so initially, that Ronin Zero is 7,777 of them, correct?
Yeah.
How many are you following that up with the next generation? Like, what's the time frame between them?
Yeah. So basically, those Ronin Zero are going to be the only ones that we're going to drop ourselves. The rest will be read by the people who own the Ronin Zero. Like, we will not drop a new generation of Ronin. Every next generation will come from the Ronin that the community will own. And basically, there's going to be a curve of breathing, and that will depend on the game mechanics and the game economy that we're going to do. So the advantage of this is with the 777 Ronin, we will be able to multiply those Ronins with new generations as fast as the game grows. So basically, as the game grows and develops and matures, the more and more Ronin will exist. So when we will reach a stage where you can say we're like World of Warcraft in a year in terms of complexity and game economy and game mechanics, well, there's probably going to be a few 100,000 of Ronin already. So in 1 year or something. And so basically, the Ronin population will evolve with the game.
Nice. So it's kind of a wait and see in terms of how the core game loop and the evolution and the sales evolve, depending on how many players are hopping into the game. That's super exciting.
Exactly.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to have, for example, let's say in 3 months when we launch, we'll have like 3, 4, 5 maps of towns plus like five maps of wilderness and everything. So that might be the access for 10 or 20,000 people. You don't want to have 200,000 people at the same time, or you don't want to have either. In contrary, the place for 1 million people with like 10 maps or 20 maps of towns and like 50 maps of wilderness, but only 10,000 Ronin. You want the game development and the Ronin, which are the players' development population, to go at the same speed. So that's something that we're gonna, not play with, but it's something that you gotta balance really carefully to really fit the game mechanics at the time of the new creation of content. So everything is just connected between it.
Yeah, so exciting. Let's jump into the game itself. So for those of you that are on this space and this is your first time hearing about Ragnarok, you can actually go play like a demo level, right, on Ragnarok.xyz. It's a beautiful world here. I don't think people realize how kind of technical or impressive that demo is. So speak to us and tell the audience here, like, how long did it take to build this? What are some design decisions that went into this? The other same characters that are walking around this world are actually other human players. So speak to like kind of the online nature of that and doing that all in a web app, really.
Yeah, well, it was super challenging. So when we set out to build Ragnarok, we started really building in October. We set out to build on Unity, and Unity is basically what everybody else uses in the space. It's like Unreal and Unity are almost the same thing in the sense that it's 3D immersive thing. That's what Decentraland uses and Sandbox and all. I mean, basically 99% of the games that exist that are playable are based on Unity. So when we set out to build, we took the easy path, which is build on Unity. Basically, all the physics already exist. You just need to adapt it to the world that you want to create and everything. And then 2 months in, so October, November, and December, so 2 months and a half in, we figured out that building, because we really wanted to build on browser. So that was a no-brainer because we wanted to give access to everyone. So basically, after 2 months and a half of developing on Unity and 3D, we realized before, but we were kind of a bit stubborn, but you need to be stubborn to succeed. We realized that building on Unity and browser were not compatible. Like, it's literally impossible to build a game, a fun, entertaining game that you can have lots of actions with and lots of multiplayer and lots of players in the same server on Unity. Because the browser capacity, the browser capacity is limited to 1 GB. And basically the whole game should not go above 1 GB. So either you're going to sacrifice the number of players, or you're going to sacrifice the number of actions, or you're going to sacrifice the graphics. But you got to sacrifice one or two things at least to really build on Unity. So at that point in December, end of December, right before, I was already seeing this HTML5 phaser trend and was seeing how powerful it could be. And I was discussing with Craig, who just joined the team, and we're speaking about development and stuff, and we're speaking about HTML5, and I just figured out that, with speaking with him, we figured out that HTML5 was the only possible way to really scale to places unseen. So basically, at the beginning of January, we pivoted everything. We threw everything that we did into trash, the game development that we did into trash, and restarted from scratch. So we hired we started hiring HTML5 developers, and it was super hard to find super qualified. So we used all our networking possibilities to find super high qualified HTML5 developers. And then we built out the game demo in a month. And it's insane how powerful and how, it's not easy, but how you could do things with HTML5 on browser in a super lightweight manner. So basically, all the rooms that you see have a capacity. We can bring the capacity to 20,000 people in the same server, and nothing will change. Basically, all the graphics that you see right now, 25% of the weight of the game is music. That's how lightweight all the action and the game is. And that's hugely powerful in the sense that you can scale this in an insane manner compared to any other engine that everybody else is building in. So yeah, everything that you see in the game demo, obviously, before it was like 1 month, now it's 1 month and a half, is 6 or 7 weeks of development. And right now, we're also, because this was the game demo, and basically we have 70% of our game dev team who is building the long-term engine on Phaser, which is a more powerful engine than Pixie.js, which are both HTML5, to sustain huge improvements into the gameplay, the pathfinding, the actions, the animations. Like, it's even more limitless that we have today. So yeah, that's where we are.
So 20,000 people can join one of these, join the server right now.
Yeah,
that's a large number. Yeah.
Yeah, that's way more than 20,000 actually. But I'm speaking in the same server, and the same server is the same room. The problem in the map that we have today is we had to limit it to 100 people, not because of the server capacity, but because the map is too small. It cannot sustain. Like, imagine if you had 20,000 people in the same game, in the same map. Like, it's impossible to move, to do anything. So we had to limit people because of the capacity of the map design itself, not the architecture behind it. Because basically a huge advantage of HTML5 also is the synchronization between the server and the client. It's instantaneous because it's straight away online, compared to Unity, where even super high MMORPGs, that exists today, only a few people, a few teams can really build a super successful MMORPG on Unity and other game engines, because there's a huge problem of synchronization between server and client. And we don't have that problem in HTML5.
Yeah, shout outs to Craig and your engineering team for putting this all together. Give the audience some alpha here. Is this world that people are seeing in the beta right now, when you launch, is this what V1 is going to be? Are there going to be other levels? Like, is it going to be a totally different world you guys are building? What can you speak to about that?
Yeah. So basically, when we will reveal the Ronin at the end of March, you already will have two maps. The first map will be approximately 4 times bigger than this one, and the second map is going to be a town with lots of new buildings and new activities to do there, and a new map that is the wilderness. So a forest where there will be monsters to kill for fun. There will be no um, leveling up or experience points and everything at the end of March, but you will be able to go and kill monsters just for fun in a new map. You will also be able to breed your Ronin, and we're going to try to make a marketplace, an in-game marketplace, at the end of March. So we'll probably be a bit late, because I like to put unreal expectations on the game, the dev team. Like, I really push them hard. But yeah, the objective is end of March, but probably will take 1 or 2 weeks more. But you have to understand that the development of the game will be done in 2 week sprint, starting the real game starting April. So April, May will be the first release of the real MMORPG, like real gameplay, real weapons, real leveling ups, real crafting of the NFTs, like real concrete stuff that you can do within an MMORPG. At that time, you will have between 3 and 5 towns where you can do things, and a few wilderness areas. So they're going to be like 4 or 5 times bigger than the town that we have today. But all the graphics and all the art, like, we're increasing a lot our team in art, because we're lacking a lot of game artists, because it requires lots of time to create buildings, new buildings, and everything. So that's for April, May, and then in sprints of 2 weeks afterwards, we're gonna make new patches on the game constantly. So that's the thing you have to understand. Like, there's no final game in 1 year or 2 year. We're building a game for the next 10 or 15 or 20 years, a whole metaverse that will constantly expand, and with new content, with new maps. Um, you will probably be able to buy buildings in April and set up billboards to sell ads to. Like, there's lots of, with the social aspect in the town, that we can speak about. But yeah, these are for the towns, and then the expansion of the world into the wilderness, and the quests and the monsters, the bosses, and everything.
Got it. Okay, so you're not only going to be selling, obviously, NFTs of the Ronin. Players can also buy buildings and land as NFTs as well.
Not lands, buildings.
Buildings. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna start the first burrito shop in the Ragnarok world.
Oh yeah, but you know, that's what crazy, because with the buildings that we want to have in the towns, we want to give the possibility for players, for the owners of the building, to choose what types of building they want to have. So basically, the town will also evolve with the players choosing what type of building they want to have, and then they will be able to get revenue from that building, from ads, for example. So majority, not all of them, but some of the buildings will have billboards on top of them, and then we can sell ads, and they will get 80 or 90% of the revenue of those ads. And then the buildings can also be warp portals to new world. So basically, imagine you have an e-commerce business, and you want to give a portal from the metaverse of Ragnarok into your website, for example, It's possible because you can advertise your own website and you can design the building to fit. Like we will not give you the complete freedom to build the building, but you have like 10% freedom to customize the building into fitting what you really want to show. And that gives lots of power to the community and the owners, and the town will change with time. That's what's exciting. It's not fixed in time. It's going to change and evolve, and that's fun.
Yeah, I love the dynamic nature, right? Versus like the static build of what you're promising. It's kind of like, you know, what they call live services in Web 2 gaming, right? Just this constant living thing that's evolving depending on how the developers and community are seeing things. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
we are on an Avalanche Twitter space, so I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about. I know it went down to the wire. I know you were looking at a bunch of different options, and we talked every day leading up to it. But you know, speak to a little bit about choosing Avalanche as the protocol that the game is built on, but also you know, this kind of unique idea that you're going to be minting on Ethereum, but then you know it's going to essentially give you access to the same asset in the game, and how you think about all that coexisting.
Yeah, basically, in the beginning, as you guys know, we wanted to build on Harmony because the fees were cheap and it was super fast. So that's why in the beginning we wanted to build on Harmony. Then when RPC problems started to happen more and more and more often, and we saw DFK shutting down for a few days, and Binance shutting down the one deposits and everything, there was a huge questioning. Like it was just like red flags all the way to what the fuck are we doing? Are we gonna stay on a chain that is cool, but that seems to have issues scaling with only one big project on it, or should we find another chain that is more stable but still has low fees? And the only answer is Avalanche, basically. Like it's super stable, the network is stable, the fees are not expensive. There's a whole subnet world that gives you insane possibilities, and so basically, Avalanche was the only answer when you take all the parameters into consideration. But then we were thinking about how to give the most value to people for the NFT they own. And the answer was Ethereum. The Ethereum is where the culture of the NFT is. It's where it started and where it still is. So we're thinking, we were debating a lot. Even I was speaking with you for a month before we took our decision. And we're debating a lot, like, do we go full Ethereum or do we go full Avalanche, or what do we do? And we started working with the blockchain team, figuring out how powerful we could, how powerful, how innovative we could become, reducing the gas fees. Because basically on Ethereum, the main problem is the gas fees. Like it's super expensive and it's slow when it's clogged. So we were trying to figure out like the most innovative ways to reduce those fees. And we were seeing Azuki, who forked a protocol which is ERC 721. They renamed it ERC 721A for Zuki, and they reduced their fees by a factor of 5 to 7 times. So basically, you could mint on Ethereum a few NFTs at $80, basically, and that's insane. That's a game changer. So basically, we took that, and we reworked that with the 1155 contract from Ethereum, and we figured out a way to make it even less expensive for you to mint NFTs. So when we figured out this way, so basically you'll be able to mint an NFT between $15 and $35 for one NFT on Ethereum, which is pretty magical. but still it's too expensive for smaller NFTs. So we were thinking about this, and we figured out that the best way, even though nobody was doing it, was to combine the best of the two worlds, to keep the characters, the Ronin, on Ethereum, and um, and have the game running on AVAX on low fees and high speed. And we're still to figure out right now what is the best of the two routes we're choosing when combining these two chains, because we strongly believe that the future is multi-chain. There's not going to be one chain that is going to win. Each chain is going to win in one sector, and there's probably going to be a few, not a lot, but like probably 2-3 winners within the space. So our idea was, our two idea are, do we bridge the Ronin NFTs to AVAX, and you basically burn them from Ethereum and then remake them on AVAX, but then you'd lose all the effects of having the culture in Ethereum in the beginning. Basically, if you own a punk or a Bored Ape, you don't want on Ethereum. You don't want to burn it for AVAX or any other protocol. You want to keep it on the mainnet. And we thought about it for the Ronin themselves too. Like, you don't want to burn your NFTs to get them on another chain. So we are trying to figure out, and there's ways. Today we were speaking about this a few days earlier. There's ways that you could read the NFT that you have on Ethereum and play it on AVAX at the same time. And this opens a huge world of possibilities, because then you would think that everybody on Ethereum can come to AVAX and play. You don't need to burn their precious punks or ape or whatever to come play on AVAX. They can just play by keeping their NFTs in their Ethereum wallet. And that's insane, because it opens up a new realm of possibilities for Avalanche. Because then you'll have, if we make, I think we are on the path of making an incredible game. And if we make that a success and something that is truly fun to play with strong game mechanics, well, then you could have all the Ethereum people coming in and playing. And then it's fun.
Yeah, it's very impressive how your team has thought about this. I still think one day we're going to look back and laugh after you bridge all your NFTs over to Avalanche, but that's another conversation. I want to get into the community side, because I think that's also really one thing that really impressed me about what you guys have built. Like, your Discord is at over 21,000 people, and it's not people spamming for kind of increased levels. It's people who are actually changing their names, asking questions, playing, giving feedback. So how have you built such like a tight knit community that isn't focused on one whitelist or whatnot? And what can other projects learn from how you guys have done this?
Well, it's. I don't think there's one answer. I think it's a multiplicity of parameters. The first parameter that we decided upon since the beginning was that we didn't want to market the project in the beginning. And still now, we're not marketing it really. Like, we have spent $0 on marketing at all. We were talking a lot with Sats and God of Coins about this in the beginning, and we truly wanted to build a super strong community from the get-go. And a super strong community is a community where there's bonds, where the bonds are created. There's lots of friendship that are developing within the Discord, and we're having a banter between us. We're just vibing in Discord. Like, there's nothing serious really on the Discord. We're just about the vibe. And that's why we grow super slowly in the beginning, because we wanted to build a core of truly strong believers that really represent Ragnarok. Like, without them, Ragnarok would not be the same. So slowly and slowly, we built out that core. And now when we are at a stage where there is a sufficient base, and it took a lot of time. It took like in the beginning, like when Craig joined, who's leading the community now, we're 2,000 or 1,000. I don't even remember. There's Craig and Squirrel who are helping a lot with the community and the Twitter activities. And we were really small in the beginning. So we set out to build a strong community from the get-go. And it took us 2 months approximately to really build, 2 or 3 months to really build a strong core about Ragnarok. And Mighty also helped a lot on this. So when we built up the strong core, the challenge now, when we're in the phase of growth in the community, aspect, is how do you keep your culture? How do you keep your DNA as a community? How do you keep Ragme from becoming too spammy? And that's super challenging even now. And we have an amazing team of mods who give us lots of ideas of how we could improve our system in the community. And one of the mods, Sita, gave us an incredible idea that we started to use a few days ago, which is to create a role called NPC. And the role NPC basically is all the people spamming when whitelist, GM, how are you? How are you, bro? You doing good? Awesome. And all the people just polluting the chat with just random language or just asking, spamming about when whitelist. We just make them NPCs, and they're basically banned from any
They're basically
possible
shadow
interaction.
banned, right, from the
Yeah,
server. Yeah,
exactly. And then
that's clever.
and then we educate them. We tell them, yeah, bro, it's not about the mint list, or it's not about, hey, how are you? How are you doing? It's about having authentic conversations with people you want to learn from and vibe with. And then when they understand, they can come back to the chat. And when they can't, well, they stay NPCs. And that's it.
So it's Ragnarok jail basically.
Yeah, basically it's the gulag.
Cool. Well, last question for you, and then I think we're going to take a few questions for the time that we have left. But you're obviously minting 7777 Ronin zeros. You've got a really unique approach to the mint list and the allow list. Talk about that, and then key dates. Like, how, if people want to get involved, like how do they get plugged in? How do they purchase? What are some dates that they should watch out for?
Yeah, so basically this was probably the most challenging aspect of the NFTs. Obviously, we should also speak another point about the art just afterwards if you want. But speaking about the process, we were seeing different projects having different approaches to whitelisting people, and we saw things that were interesting, some things that were red flags, and other things. And there were a set of parameters that we decided upon to create the most, I mean, not the most, but we were trying to give the most fair approach to minting to people. And we were seeing that the most interesting thing was to create first a Dutch auction to really set the price of the NFTs. What does the market decide is the right price for the NFTs? And at the end of that Dutch price auction, when the final price is decided by the last buying, we will then give the access to the whitelisted members to buy at the last price of the Dutch auction, or the second whitelisted people who will buy at 50% discount. And let me tell you a bit more about why we created two different whitelists. So on the 777 Ronin, there is 2,500 Ronin that will go to the community, and that is probably twice the size as any of the projects that you can see. For example, Azuki, which we really admire, has only 18% that goes to the community. We have like 32% that goes to the community. And how did we want to build those whitelists? The first core, it comes back also to how we build the community. The first core of the members, the whitelisted members, are the pills. And who are the pills? It's the pillars of our community, the most active, helpful, and most creative members of the community. Those are who, without who, if they were not here, Ragnarok would not be the same. And those 1,000 people will have the ability to mint one Ronin at 50% discount of the last Dutch auction price. So we want to reward them as much as possible, but not too much to have a too big gap like other projects have done with 80% discount or whatever. So we want to reward them in the most fairest way. That's for the core of Ragnarok. And then the next layer above the core is the pixel list. And the pixel list are people who engage with Twitter, but also are active in the sense that they come from other communities and really are long-term believers versus just quick flippers. So basically, it's the extra layer of protection of the game, if you want. So we carefully select, like the mod team can tell you that they're not super happy about this, but we select manually each person that comes into the whitelist because we want to build with people long term and not just people who will just 10x the NFT and just flip it and whatever. And then the final layer is the 5,000 public priced. And for those, it's going to be a mini gas war because, as I said earlier, the prices would not be expensive for minting, and they will be able to batch mint multiple Ronin. So we are thinking between 3 and 5 at the same time, and yeah, and basically usually what you have in those is probably the whales that come and snag lots of NFTs. So that's why we wanted to up the end of the community owning Ronin with 32% of the supply. So yeah, we really thought a lot about the whitelisting and really are putting a lot of effort selecting who we want to build with versus just speculators who want to just buy and flip it.
Awesome. Yeah. A lot of thought has obviously gone into that. And you can tell in the community. I'm in the Discord right now, and I'm seeing them go crazy with everything you're saying. You've got quite the cheer squad behind you. You mentioned wanting to talk a little bit about the art. I want to give you a chance to do that.
Yeah. So the art, we have two amazing artists, Adi and Sasha. Sasha is leading the profile pictures. And basically, when we set out to build the art, it was 3 or 4 months ago. And you see the first draft that I was having. Sasha was not here yet, but the first draft that we had was completely different from what we have today. And as the game has evolved in iteration, the art has evolved in iteration too. With Sasha and Adi, we have, we had big inspirations from animes that were simple, like Demon Slayer and Naruto and all these animes that were beautiful as it is. And we started to test different versions of what looked the best. So do we want thick traits? Do we want higher, lower position? What is the size of the head to the profile picture? Because our thinking was that we wanted the people that buy the NFT, the Ronin, to identify themselves into the NFT, into the into the playable character. That was extremely important to us. So how could we create such a recognition from the player into the profile pictures? Because it really becomes their virtual identity in the metaverse. How do we do that at best? And And this was with a lot of tests and lots of errors. And Sasha was not happy about this because we kept on completely changing the stuff over and over. I mean, not completely, but like iterations over and over and over again, until we found um, the right ratio, the right aspect of different things. And then when we build the right basis, um, then we started building the accessories, and the thinking behind the accessories and the attributes of the NFTs were: do we want to give 1,000 different attributes and people would get lost into what is rare, what is not, what looks cool, what doesn't, or do we want to keep it as low as possible to make people understand better and easier? Because less is more. Less is more, and you can see that with the punks, for example. The punks have 90 attributes, if I remember correctly, and it's super easy for anyone to see if a punk is rare or not. Like, it's pretty straightforward. And when you see broader collections with over 700 attributes, like Azuki, for example, that we think looks beautiful, but then people are kind of lost into what it becomes more of something that is trending versus something that has value. So we really wanted to create a balance between those two worlds, where there's the simplicity of reading what is valuable versus what's not, and the hundreds of accessories to make something look cool as a profile picture. And we handed around 200 accessories, which is almost double from the punks, but not as much as the new generation's profile pictures. Because then now, with the 5 races that we have, it's super easy to see what has value versus not. And all those NFTs look awesome because with less accessories, you could create better compositions. And yeah, the building of that was insanely iterative, and we could not have done this without Sasha and without Adi, that are amazing artists who are helping us. I mean, who are basically building it themselves from the ground up. And yeah, it's amazing. It's really amazing. The choice of colors, and I really suck at color choosing, but Sasha is really amazing at this, and she gives. I mean, she's extremely creative, and it's awesome to have such quality team members with us. Like, the thing I'm most proud of in Ragnarok is the team. Is not the game itself, because the team kicks ass. Like, I've never had the team that kicks ass this much. In every single area that we have, the team kicks ass. The leader kicks ass. It's insane.
Yeah, it's crazy the amount of talent that's flowing into the crypto space and the gaming space. Can't wait to see the finished product. We could go on for 2 hours, I know 3 hours, but I did promise that we'd take a question or two. So with the last 3 minutes and change right now, I think we're gonna look for someone to come on and ask a question. Kyle, can I?
Yeah. So Ocean Block here has requested a little while ago, so I'm going to see if their audio works, and if not, we'll move on to the next one. Hey there, Ocean Block. Can you try to speak real quick? Also, remember you have to be on mobile to be able to speak on Spaces.
Yeah, I figured out this recently when I was trying to speak on browser.
I don't know why that it doesn't work yet, but here we are. Okay, let's go on to the next one and see if we can come back to them. All right, Bath Philly. Can you speak?
Hello?
There you go. You got a question for our special guest here?
No, I'm already done with it. I just wanted to say shout out to the whole Ragnarok family. It's the first place I ever been whitelisted, and I think it's a beautiful project. My bad, y'all. I'm the hoochie coochie man. Everybody know me basically right now. Yo,
Right.
Avalanche, dope. I've been looking into Avalanche lately and everything else. I love what y'all doing over there. Fan, I love what you're doing here. I'm just a fan. I'm a fan of the whole thing. Oh yeah,
Amazing.
voice, man.
Amazing.
Thank you very much.
Hopefully I
Cool. Well,
can the
thanks.
game.
Thanks, Uchi.
All right,
Cool. Thanks for jumping on. All right. One more. Let's try Havoc here. Let's see if this works. Got to wrap up here in a second. So we'll see if this one works.
You cannot wrap up such a beautiful spaces. Like, just give some space to the community to ask us some questions. Like, truthfully.
Yeah. Let's definitely see if we can get some questions in here. I think Havoc here, see if it works. Oh, they fell off. All right, let's try the next one here. Irvin XYZ, see if yours works. Go ahead.
Hey guys, great project. I was just curious about what the metadata and the utility of the NFTs are within the game, or are the NFTs just purely cosmetic?
I'm not sure to have listened to your questions. Can you please repeat your question?
Sure. So I'm curious to know about the metadata behind the actual NFTs and whether they're purely cosmetic or have some utility within the game itself.
Yeah, no, the NFTs have a huge utility in the game. I mean, you're right, because there's two types of NFTs. There's NFTs who have only cosmetic cosmetic purposes. Sorry, and there's other NFTs who has real utilities. So weapons. So basically, the object that you will be crafting in the game and looting from the monsters can be crafted into NFTs, and those can be weapons. So the weapons as NFTs have different powers, different stats, different elements. There's also gears. There's also there's gears, weapons, cards that you can equip as an NFT character, and your NFT, your own character, has utility because the NFT has stats that are linked into it, levels, and skills that he learns with orbs, who are also NFTs. Orbs are the element that is the only way to craft the NFTs are with orbs, who are also NFTs. And there's amulets, and amulets are also NFTs who allow you to learn new skills. So basically, there will be a lot of combination of different NFTs who have utility and some who are just cosmetic, like a dope set of clothes. Well, probably won't have any utility into the game.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Looking forward to the progress.
Awesome. Thanks for the great question. Let's try Danino Tyler. Let's see if this works here. Tyler, you good? You're on mute. Can you try to speak?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, I just wanted to relate to that point which Fan brought up related to the NFT utility. So we know that the NFTs will be launched on Ethereum. How will they be used in the game, which will be in Avalanche?
Yeah, I was speaking about this earlier in the sense that we are finding ways of reading the NFT that you own on Ethereum, and because you will not play as it's not the JPEG element of the profile picture that you will be playing with. It's the playable character that corresponds to that, to the NFT, the profile picture NFT that will exist on Ethereum. So basically, the playable character will be an Avalanche, and it's so we will be able to read what you own in Ethereum and display it on Avalanche.
Yeah, that explains it.
Yeah,
I was just wondering if it would be like a way of like bridging it over to AVAX, but as long
Yeah,
as that authentication process works. Yeah, thank you.
Cool.
Yeah,
Thanks, Tyler.
awesome.
Let's take another one here. Soap.avax. Let's try this out. All right, you there, Soap?
Conversation a little late, but that last question answered some of it. So it sounds like you guys are, I mean, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like you're basically wrapping an ETH NFT, bridging it to AVAX. Is that kind of the general premise?
No, as I was saying earlier, it's basically we're not wrapping and bridging and burning the NFT that you will own on Ethereum. We're reading. I mean, basically, there's two avenues because we haven't decided yet completely which avenue that we'll take. The first avenue is what you said. You wrap the NFT from Ethereum and you bridge it to AVAX, and then you play it on AVAX. But then you will lose all the Ethereum is the culture of the NFTs if you bridge it to AVAX. So the second avenue that we are exploring right now, and it's pretty innovative because no one else is doing it, is to read that you own the NFT on Ethereum. Because basically, when you have the wallet address, it's the same wallet address on AVAX or Ethereum. You can read that the NFT exists on that wallet, and then since you can read that, you can then show it on the game, which is on AVAX. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense.
Awesome.
Okay.
I'm curious, are you guys looking at exploring subnets on Avalanche?
Definitely.
Awesome.
It's not so. We're not going to launch on the subnet from the get-go because we need to grow first our community within Avalanche, and we strongly believe that the best way to do this is through launching on mainnet in the beginning. But as we grow and as our player grow, we will go on subnet. We were talking about this with Ed and Luigi, and we will go on subnet eventually. It's a matter of months after the launch.
Very cool.
Awesome.
Thanks for answering the question, man.
Thanks for the
Awesome.
question.
Thanks for the question. All right. Looks like we're going to have to wrap it up here. It's been a really awesome conversation. Fan, thank you so much for coming on. Ed, thanks for leading the charge. You guys have any last words here for our community?
Thank you. I'm super humbled with the community that we have, and thank you for having this space. It's really amazing to have such cool conversations. And if you want to hang out with us, join us on Discord. It's Ragnarok Meta, or join our Twitter, and follow us on Twitter too. We show up dope art, and the minting date of the NFTs will be on early March, so around mid-March to be precise. And thank you guys. And thank you, Ed, for having me, and Ryan for this. It's really cool.
Yeah, thanks everyone for joining. Thank you, Fan. We are thrilled for this year of GameFi and AVAX, so everyone stay tuned. More to come.
Yeah, awesome. We are definitely really excited about the growth of GameFi on Avalanche this year. If you want to learn more, we of course are having our Avalanche Summit coming up March 22nd to 27th. There's a limited amount of tickets left, so make sure you go to avalanchesummit.com to get your tickets. And for those interested in more of a DeFi discussion, we'll be having a Twitter Spaces tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern with Dexalot, one of the new trading protocols on Avalanche. So join us right here tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern, but we'll have another gaming discussion next week, so stay tuned. Thanks, Fan. Thanks, Ed.
Awesome. Thanks,
everybody, for coming.
Thanks, everybody. Yeah.
See you later.